take it away.
All right, thank you, Sarah. I'm going to call the Monday, September 15th, 2025 meeting of the Barnstable Community Preservation Committee to order. This meeting of the Community Preservation Committee is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting and to please make their presence known. Seeing none, before we call the roll, I'd like to introduce our newest member, a representative from the Historic Commission, Barbara DiBiase. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Hello, everyone.
Great. Thank you very much. Ellen, would you call the roll?
Deb Converse.
Here.
Terry Duenas.
Here.
Catherine Garofoli.
Here.
Farley Lewis.
Here.
Barbara DiBiase.
Here.
Lindsay Council.
Here. Thank you, Ellen. First item is the minutes. Approval of the draft Community Preservation Committee regular meeting minutes from August 18th, 2025. Any comments? Suggestions? I think they were very good. Talked about everything we did. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a second. Any further discussion? Ellen, would you call the roll?
Deb Converse.
I think I wasn't there.
Yep. Terry Duenas.
Yes.
Catherine Garofoli.
Yes.
Farley Lewis.
Yes.
Barbara DiBiase.
Abstain.
Oh, right. Lindsay Council.
Yes. Very good. Thank you, Ellen. Next item is letters of intent. We received none for this meeting. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be taking the application from the Barnstable Land Trust out of order and put that first. I believe Janet Milkman's here. I'll read the item. An application has been received from the Barnstable Land Trust requesting $307,500 in community preservation open space funds to preserve an ecologically important retired cranberry bog property consisting of 25.74 acres within the Great Marsh and Barnstable Harbor watershed, addressed at 301 Parker Road, West Barnstable, map 176, parcel 019. The total purchase price is $615,000, and the BLT applied for a Mass Conservation Partnership grant in June 2025 to help fund the acquisition. BLT will grant a conservation restriction to the town of Barnstable to ensure the land is preserved in perpetuity. I will say at this time we did get an appraisal on the property, and we also today received a copy of an appraisal for the conservation restriction, which turned out to be a value for the restriction was $480,000. So that fits with the request going before us. And Janet, if you'd like to go ahead.
Thank you, Lindsay, and thank you for all that work that you've done with all the appraisals. Much appreciated, and also doing it so speedily. So I will not go over everything that I went over last time, but I'll just remind you that this is a little over 25 acres in West Barnstable. It was a working cranberry bog until just last year. It's very important in terms of conservation values for rare species protection. There is a vernal pool on it. It connects to hundreds of acres of conservation land, both to the north and to the south. It has a big wetland on it, and the conservation of the property gives us an opportunity to positively impact the water flowing to Bridge Creek Conservation Area to the north and then out to the Barnstable Great Marsh, which is an area of critical environmental concern. So really, really high conservation value in this property.
Wow, look at all the shit I got. You just sent me permission.
Some of you had an opportunity to visit it a few weeks ago now and walk the property, which is another important value, the opportunity for passive recreation on it. It's already got a really nice walking trail around it. And I just wanted to share one map that I hadn't shared before. We did sketch out a walking trail. So we showed you this one before, which is, you see the Project Locust locus, and the red line is the Cape Cod Pathways. So if we go to the next slide, we did sketch out, yes, if you can, yes. These are just showing the possible connections to the Jenkins Wildlife Area to the north there. One or two options. And then if you go to the next slide, you'll see the potential connection from the south end of the Woodland Bog to an existing trail that goes around Spruce Pond and connects to the Cape Cod Pathways. So if you go to the next slide, I think I just have one more. This seemed to be something of interest to the committee.
That's the last slide, Janet.
Okay, all right, great. So you can take those down, Sarah. Thank you so much. When we presented it before, we sort of thought this was a good idea, and then we were able to sort of plot out the trail and see that it was actually doable. So I just wanted to share that with you. The other, the only other new things are that some folks have had a chance to visit the bog, and we've gotten the appraisal of the CR value, which we're going to do now. When the town is acquiring a CR, we're going to provide the CR appraised value going forward. So we are asking for $377,500, which is well below the appraisal value of the CR of $480, as Lindsay said. So Barbara, I know you weren't there for the first application for this. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, or anyone else.
I don't right now. I actually did watch the past meeting
Great.
on TV. So I'm somewhat familiar with it.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Anyone have their hand raised? I did actually walk that trail, the proposed trail, and it is doable without any wetland interference. It's thick in there, but it is doable, and it'll be a great addition to the system.
Good.
Anyone else?
Lindsay.
Yes.
I just want to add that I also walked the property when the group went, and it's a really special place. I think that the fact that it's relatively flat around the bog, it's going to be a nice place for people to walk. It is tucked away, and it's a very peaceful area. The fact that Barnstable Land Trust has come to us with a very modest ask, and considering all the benefits that could come from this property, I think that this is terrific, and I just want to thank Janet.
Very good. Any other questions or comments from members? Seeing none. Sarah, is there anyone from the public that is ready to speak to this?
I don't see anybody raising their hand. I think you're all set.
All right, thank you. Anyone? Other comments? Does any member have a motion?
I have a motion.
Certainly, go for it.
I move that we award Barnstable Land Trust with $307,000 to purchase a conservation restriction on the mill. Oh man, this is where I screw up, isn't it? The
Woodland
mill
Bog?
pond, the Woodland Bog, not
Bog.
Mill Pond. Yep, Woodland Bog. Purchase for open space purposes.
Would you amend that to $307,500, please?
I would love to amend that to $307,500.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. Any further discussion from members? Seeing none, Ellen, would you call the roll?
Deb Converse,
Yes.
Terry Glanis,
Yes.
Catherine Garofoli,
Yes.
Farley Lewis,
Yes.
Barbara DiBiase,
Yes.
Lindsay Council.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Very good. Janet, thank you.
Mhm.
And someday I'll make sure to have, the article, like the motion written in front of me so I don't sound like a silly person.
That's quite all right. We got you back. All right. Now we'll go back to the regular order in the agenda. And that would be the next item is the South Congregational Church. An application has been received from the South Congregational Church of Centerville for their graveyard restoration project, requesting $25,000 in community preservation, historic preservation funds. The proposed work includes cleaning, restoring, and resetting 34 gravestones and other markers with historic and cultural significance. Removal of overgrown shrubs, weeds, adjusting granite fence pillars, and adding replacement of steel fencing bars. I believe the folks are here. Who's going to take the lead on this?
I will. First, I have a PowerPoint presentation to make to you. I need to see the first slide. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk to you about this important project. The next slide. And this is the entrance to the cemetery, and that's Churchill Road on the left there. And next slide. And that's the South Congregational Church, the actual building. The cemetery is behind it. And a little history of the church, if you could go to the next slide. It was founded in 1796, and it was located on Finney's Lane at the time. And it also served as a meeting house for the town. But over time, the population of the village increased and people started moving further south. And so the center of the village they wanted to be nearer to that, the church did. So the leaders at the time decided to dismantle the entire building in 1826, and they moved it to its present location on Main Street. And it remains, it's sort of the anchor of the Centerville Historic District. It's the furthest part of it that's south. And next slide, please. And this is a photo I took about a week ago, and it's just one corner of the cemetery, but I wanted to show you how wonderful the stones look. They're all a bright white color. They were dingy, covered with moss, and terrible a few weeks ago. But in June, the Scout Troop 54 conducted a Eagle Scout project there, and they cleaned virtually every gravestone in the whole cemetery. And they used a substance called D2. You spray it on, it stays on the stone, and as time goes by, they remain that color. So it was a wonderful project, and it saved a lot of money for the project, really. It's something that was already done. And we also have them doing spring and fall cleanups yearly to keep the cemetery in good shape. So that was a wonderful experience. Next slide. And a little bit of history of the cemetery itself. The earliest gravestone is 1823 for a boy named Alexander Kelly. The consultant that did the survey of the cemetery said it's not clear when that marker was actually placed, because the church didn't actually move till 1826, but he passed away in 1823, so it's a bit of a mystery. There's 145 gravestones altogether, and 34 of them are in need of restoration. We have at least 5 veterans buried there, and there's burial grounds contains many prominent names like Crosby, Kelly, Lewis, Bierce, and it's also listed on the State Register of Historic Places. Next slide. And this is an aerial view of the property. On the far left is the actual church building. In the middle, you see 2 blocks there. Those are additions that were added in 1955 and 1965, I believe. And on the far right is the parsonage that is part of the property, and that's rented out to tenants right now. Next slide. And this is a summary of the project. It's basically 2 phases. One phase would be repairing, restoring, resetting 34 of the gravestones, and they have historic significance. And you can see in the photo here on the far left, there's a gravestone that it's completely out of place, and the tree is kind of grown around it. And on the far right is a example of another stone that needs repairs. And the second phase is the fence project. You can see in the middle that there's a piece of it that's just broken, and all the way around, it goes on 2 sides of the cemetery, and it's in pretty bad shape. So the project would be to replace the steel pipes and reposition the granite pillars. Next slide. And this is a property map. It shows the dimensions of the cemetery itself in the dark outline there. Next slide. And we have a lot of goals, but they're all important. We want to preserve important cultural and historic resources. And we also feel the project will enhance the whole historic district in Centerville. We want to instill pride in the residents and the public into the cemetery there. And in the future, we're envisioning conducting tours possibly during Old Home Week of the cemetery, pointing out some of the prominent people that are interred there. And this project will also protect the cemetery from further decay. And we're honoring the founders of the village. And we're preserving a link to Barnstable's maritime heritage as well. Many of the people buried there were sea captains, and they were an important part of the community. Next slide. And here's some other stones that need repair. On the far left is it's a 1,000-pound piece of granite. It fell over during a storm when a tree fell on it. And it's been that way for several years. The person we'd like to hire to do the restoration, he has a crane that is capable of lifting that stone and putting it back in place. The one in the middle is a very delicate carving of a ship. It was the ship of Captain Orlando Linnell, and that particular stone needs to be cleaned, but the carving was so delicate, we would really like a person with an experienced restorer to take care of that one. And on the right is it's the first grave that was there that was for the Alexander Kelly, 1823. Next slide. And here's our budget. We would like Gravestone Services of New England to be the people to restore the cemetery. We feel he's very highly experienced. He's done a lot of work on Cape Cod, and his estimate was $10,500 for 33 gravestones, and lifting the heavy stone is $550. And also, we're using Paramount Landscaping. We're hoping to use them. This was the most challenging part of the project because we called a lot of fence companies and they don't deal with fences like this. We first called All Cape Welding, and they were going to be able to supply the pipes and take out the old ones, but they could not reposition the granite posts, and they need to be lined up. They're mostly okay, but some of them need to be shifted around. But they couldn't do that. So Tim suggested we call Paramount Landscaping, and a gentleman who actually lives in Centerville came over, and he said they could do the whole thing. So, and their bid was $11,192. So we would like to go with them. And the rest is just for supplies and contingencies. So the total we would be asking from the CPC would be $25,000. Next slide. Next slide. I think we missed a slide. There we go. The leadership of the church has pledged $1,000 toward the project, so the total cost would be $26,000. And I talked about the in-kind contributions. We received 2 other estimates for the cemetery repair, and that was $19,750 and $35,000 from Ludlow. And the All Cape Welding estimate to do their part of the work, not including the pillars, was $10,162. Next slide. And these are just representatives of the beautiful gravestones that we have here. The one on the left for Andrews Bierce and his wife is very prominent in the cemetery. It's called an obelisk, and there's not many of them like that. The one in the middle is a marble, and the carving on that is just spectacular. It's the kind of thing that we want to preserve going forward. And on the far right is for Jacob Lewis and his wife Temperance, another sort of a obelisk. And one of our main goals is to protect and preserve what we have there. The next slide. And this is the last one. I wanted to show you this one because it sort of represents everything that we would like to do there. I don't know if you noticed, but across the middle of it, it's got a crack in it, so it's going to need to be repaired. But it's also about a person who was prominent in the community, a member of the maritime people there, and he was lost at sea in 1856. He was leaving Liverpool, England, in a storm in January of 1856. It was a very bad year that year for icebergs, and unfortunately his ship hit an iceberg and it sank, and they put out 5 lifeboats for the passengers and the crew, but only one was ever found. And in it was just one person, a young man whose name was Thomas Nye from New Bedford, and he managed to survive somehow after 9 days in a lifeboat at sea. So to us, it's protecting the Barnstable's history of their maritime history is what we're hoping to do there as well. Let's see. And I feel that like this maintains that link to the maritime community. And that was it. I know Tom.
Thank you.
Tim would like to make some comment as well.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, at last month's meeting, the question arose regarding the commitment of the church to ongoing maintenance of the cemetery. So that budget will be a total of $2,500. About half of that is, mowing the grass and landscaping. But going forward, it'll be in the budget, in the operating budget of the church. That was a question at last month's meeting.
Yes, thank you. Much appreciated on getting that answered. Anyone else? Question for the group?
Deb. For some reason, my picture isn't up there, but anyway, I just want to ask, do you ever do anything with the Centerville Historical Museum?
Yes, I actually did go talk to them and told them what we were doing, and they're very supportive of this project.
They may do tours for you because that's, if people don't go, they don't appreciate what we have. So
Right.
I'm kind of wishing that everybody would start marketing these historic projects. So that would be terrific. And this is a great presentation.
Thank you.
Any other members with questions? Terry.
Lizzie, I just want to commend Tim and the group from the church on how good the gravestones look now. We went and looked with him way back, and they weren't as impressive as they are. And so the work that the Boy Scouts did there, unbelievable. Looks really, really good. And that is a real positive step towards this whole project.
I would agree with that, Terry. You're right. It looks a lot better already. All right. Any other questions from members?
No.
I had one question. In the first shot you showed with the sign, will those two bars be replaced on that one, those two as well? Sort of looks odd not having them there.
Yeah, they will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Sarah, is there any member of the public here to speak for this project?
I do not believe so.
Thank you. Members, any other questions? Anyone have a motion? I will make the motion. I would move to approve the request of the South Congregational Church of Centerville for $25,000 in community preservation, historic preservation funds for the cleaning, restoring, and resetting of gravestones and repairing the fence. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Moved and seconded. Any other questions on the motion? Seeing none, Ellen, will you call the roll?
Deb Converse,
Absolutely.
Terry Duenas,
Yes.
Catherine Garofoli,
Yes.
Farley Lewis,
Yes.
Barbara DiBiase,
Yes.
Lindsay Council.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good luck and
job.
keep us posted as you work forward.
We will.
Okay. The next item is an application has been received from the Department of Public Works through the Town Manager's Office requesting additional funds in the amount of $400,000 to cover the full projected cost of the Osterville Playground project. Initial funding for the Osterville Playground was approved in 2023 and subsequently was advanced through the design phase with input from the community, facilitated by the steering group overseeing design development. The playground equipment has been selected and construction documents are currently being prepared for the bidding process. Based on recent cost estimates, the project is projected to exceed the original budget. I believe we have Mark Marinaccio from DPW, the town architect here.
Lizzie, committee members, Sarah starting the presentation. Next slide, Sarah. So we are seeking through the town manager's office $400,000 for this project. Go to the next slide, Sarah. Basically, what happened was we had estimated 3,500 square feet for this playground originally, and then as we formed a steering group and met with different members of the community, the size of the project doubled, and hence the cost doubled. Next slide, please. So the playground as it's designed right now, I actually just received 60% construction drawings today, and we have a page turn next week to review this with the engineers. But there's two areas. There's a 2 to 5 year old play area and a 6 and up play area. The 2 to 5 year old play area is to the left of this plan, and the older group is to the right. And in between, you'll see those kind of triangular shaped in the port in place. Those are the swings. They kind of separate the two areas. We have musical play included in this project, shaded play areas, and it's the first time I've installed equipment that has actually shade and the play equipment itself. There's shaded seating areas and water bottle filling station. Next slide, please. 2 to 5 year old play. Actually, we're very excited about this. Richard Ventrone has modeled this playground for us. And we keep, every time we look at it, we keep finding more things to play with. I wish I was 10 years old again. But the 2 to 5 year old play has a beach house, which allows for climbing and slides. There's a balance beam area, connects to a little igloo there. There are bucket swings and tandem swings. There's musical play for that area. Next slide, please, Sarah. There are the swings. There's a tandem swing, which is a 2-seater that the group really wanted to include in this. There are drums included in the 2 to 5 year old play area, communication tubes. To the right there, lower right picture, that's the We Go Round, which is flush with the ground and handicapped accessible. There are play panels, shaded play areas, and shaded seating, and of course signage. Next slide, please. And for the older children, there's to the far right, the net climber, the slides, tandem slides, climbing bars, monkey bars, crawling tubes, balance beams, bouncing bridge, play panels. We go around. Next slide, Sarah. And of course, belt swings, musical play, shaded play areas, and shaded seating. This right here is the net climber. And of course, you see the different monkey bars attached to that, the blue and the red coral color. Next slide, please. And here's the shaded play unit in the center. Next slide, please. Another view of that with the bouncing bridge. Next slide. And of course, the percussion play musical instruments, which are actually tuned instruments. Next slide, please. And of course, all of this is designed with fall zones in mind. Each piece of equipment has what's called a fall zone. You see it in white. Sometimes they can overlap, sometimes they cannot. We have a playground expert, Real Associates, that's been involved in selecting this equipment and the layout of this equipment. Next slide, please. And we went through a number of iterations of the port in place rubber surfacing. This is the one that was selected. Next slide, Sarah. This was one of the other ones, kind of a Mod Squad 60s theme. Next slide. And of course, there's a fence around the perimeter. There's a water bottle filling station, and we're going to have a solar trash compactor there. And this is the view of the entrance. Next slide. This is the original budget, which was the original appropriation for $9,999. Next slide. And this is our current budget. Currently, we were short $512,000. If you notice to the upper left in the blue, there were a number of projects on the site that have been completed. As part of this request at Town Council, we're going to request that those funds get moved to this project. So we are seeking an additional $400,000 from community preservation funds to, recreation funds for this project. I can answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Mark.
I have a question.
Go right ahead.
Mark, is there lighting on this playground?
There will be lighting along the new walkways, but we have not lit this piece of property, mostly for the neighbors. The field doesn't have any night lighting. So there will be safety lighting along the new walkways, but it's not going to be lit. Basically, at dusk, it's shut down.
Okay, thank you.
Deb?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember my question because I had, did the size dictate the fanciness of this playground compared to the others?
The advisory group had been working on this for a while before we got involved. So on the initial funding request for the capital improvement plan, I made certain assumptions, typically for other playgrounds. But once we got in there, they had a lot of ideas and things they wanted to include. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. Jody Reel was really great in recommending certain pieces of play equipment. There is a lot of play in this playground. This is going to probably be the best playground, in Barnstable at this point.
I'm sure it is in Osterville. So do we know how many year-round children live in Osterville?
I don't have those figures. This is really going to be a destination playground, similar to what Centerville is going to be.
Good. Yeah. Good. Okay. Sounds great. It's beautiful. I want to do the instruments. I want to do the music.
Yeah. I didn't have it. There are actually videos online. If you go to Percussion Play, there's videos you can hear their music, and they're beautiful tones compared to what you have traditionally seen at playgrounds.
I'm surprised there's not a water play area because that seems to be the end thing.
There was discussion about water park here, but recreation was not in favor of that at the time.
Okay. Thanks. Nice.
Anyone else with questions, Mark? Go ahead, Catherine.
So, Mark, you may not have the information to answer this, but I guess in sort of going along with what Deb was talking about, how are the Barnstable playgrounds publicized? Like, how will somebody in Hyannis know that there's going to be this destination playground, and how are we going to make sure that they know how to get there? In the event they don't have a car, like, where's the closest RTA bus stop? Like, I think that it's going to be a beautiful playground. I worry that only a small group of people are going to utilize it because no one else is going to know.
I don't have a good answer for that, other than there is currently a website, and with DPW, then we update our projects there. And there has been discussion in the community. I mean, everybody in that area has been waiting for this playground. There's been a lot of pressure to really move this forward quickly and to get this project done from the community. But I could look into what would be involved on putting something on the website and, sending out a media announcement, that type of thing, through DPW, because we do have a communications person there.
Thank you, Catherine, for saying that, because I sort of feel that about a lot of things the town of Barnstable has. And, historic land, and I think the Land Trust does a lot of publicity, but I think it's more than the DPW website. I think the town has a communications person too. So why aren't we showing that if people have a computer to go to? But
my grandchildren go to school in Sandwich, and they know all about all the playgrounds in Barnstable.
Oh,
and they prefer certain ones there. So we end up taking them. Yep.
Yeah. Good. Well, that's good. So we can advertise in the schools again. Good.
I don't think there'll be
Terry,
any lack.
I know that. Teasing.
I think that it's great, but I think the young mothers, they have a line, man. They'll know where this is. There's no question. Mark, I have a question. Is it all component pieces? Is there some other parts of this that could be used to duplicate in other areas of the town on a much smaller basis, but as partial pieces that could be used?
I'm not quite sure what you're asking, but these are manufactured products. The playground equipment will be purchased by the town through a state contract. There's a discount if we do that. That's why we utilize that. There's also no markup from the contractor on that. And then we will be hiring a contractor to actually install that and do the site work. And they will have to hire a subcontractor that is certified by the playground installer of the equipment, playground equipment, to install their equipment. So if you're asking for different components, yeah, I mean, we could buy this same equipment and put it someplace else, but every playground is unique. Centerville, that's under construction right now, is going to be different from this one based on what the community had wanted or comments that they had made during the process.
I just comment, I guess what other communities have found is that in repairing, once they get old, now this is plastic, you never get old, but you know, if things go wrong, they wonder if you can interchange them because, you know, building new costs a lot of money. So if there were components, but it doesn't sound like this is the case.
Well, for example, the playground that's currently on the site, the small playground there, that was equipment that was revitalized from Marston's Mills when that Marston's Mills playground was removed. And we replaced all of the moving parts and all of the chains and all of the belts and reinstalled that equipment. So you can reuse this equipment as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Any other members with questions? Yes, Farley.
Just wondering what the actual lifespan is of these pieces of equipment. I mean, actually, to me, it doesn't feel like a playground. It feels like an amusement park.
Yeah.
And but I mean, it's very elaborate, and you know, I appreciate the fact that it's, you know, it's so sophisticated. But how long does it last for?
Let's look at Luke's Love. So Luke's Love was installed, was about 14 years ago, and then was relocated about 5 or 6 years ago. And at that point, all the moving parts were replenished, and anything that was damaged or rusted was, you know, sanded and repainted, and it was like basically brand new when we installed it. I know the recreation department now is inspecting all the playgrounds for safety. All those components are noted. I know over at Luke's Love, there's port in place that I was there and I took pictures of issues with the port in place in some areas that were wearing, brought that in. Structures and Grounds already knew about it, was already working on repairing it. So believe me, if there's something wrong with a piece of equipment, then people let you know. People let you know.
Okay. Even just curious about, you know, the materials changed, you know, since the earlier playgrounds that we already have.
Yeah, these are metal. They're not plastic.
They're not.
We went through at the beginning. Went through a whole series. Well, I mean, some of the slides are polymer based, but we went through a whole series of looking at different manufacturers and then getting recommendations from our playground designer of what her experience was, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what brands to kind of stay away from, as well as what brands were, you know, long lasting, and that's why we hired her.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Very thorough, Mark. Very thorough.
Playgrounds are a serious thing. I mean, if a playground is open, there's an assumption by parents that it's safe. And that's how we stand. So they need to be inspected. They need to be reviewed, because if they're there, you know, they're safe. We're talking with our contractor right now. We have a completion date for Centerville of, you know, the beginning of next summer. We're ahead of schedule, but I told them the worst thing would be for you to install this equipment but not have the port in place yet, because all the signage in the world and all the warnings, people will still go there and try to use it. So, you know, a lot of it's timing and making sure that these are safe, because as soon as the equipment's installed, there's an assumption that it's safe.
Yeah. I recommend a field trip to these playgrounds.
Very good idea. Go by and take a look. The site will be changed. There's several large trees that are on the northwest side of this area that will have to be removed. They're quite old and they're rotted, so it's going to have a new look. But with the expansion of this playground, I think it'll be well worth the effort.
Yeah.
We had a site visit, what, last week before last, Lindsay?
Week before last.
Yeah, week before
Yeah.
last. Went through and looked at the siting of both of them and the progress in Centerville. Yeah.
We did have considerable discussion on these musical instruments. Are you prepared for if it comes that they are disturbing the neighbors, they could be removed and the poured in place could be repaired, correct?
Yep. So what we're looking at too, we will not install, well, so I just got the 60% drawings. We're going to meet with our steering group. Again, we're going to talk about that concern. We will not install something and then take it out. We will just choose what, we'll probably reduce the number, and we'll also put them on the further side of the playground if that's a concern, towards the center rather than out towards the street. And so we will review that, and we will just reduce the number of musical instruments if that's a concern.
Great. Glad you're on top of that.
Yeah.
Any other questions from members? Seeing none. Sarah, do we have anybody here from the public who'd like to speak to this?
Not at this time, thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other questions, members? I would make a motion then, if you'd like me to.
Please.
I would move that we approve the $400,000 request for the Osterville Playground project from the Barnstable Department of Public Works of $400,000, first to come from the Open Space and Recreation Fund, and any remainder to come from the undesignated fund of the Community Preservation funds. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Terry seconds. Further discussion? Everyone clear on the motion?
Great job.
Thank you. Ellen, if you'd call the roll.
Deb Converse.
Yes.
Terry Duenas.
Yes.
Catherine Garofoli.
Yes.
Farley Lewis.
Yes.
Barbara DiBiase.
Yes.
Lindsay Council.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Okay, thank
Look
you.
forward
Thank you
to
very
seeing
much.
your good work on this one.
Thanks.
Okay. That concludes the application section of the agenda. From there, we'll go to correspondence, which we received none for this month. And now I'll do the project updates. The transfer of $2.5 million to the Affordable Housing Trust was approved at the September 4th meeting of the Barnstable Town Council. The Barnstable Department of Public Works request for CPA funds in the amount of $2.9 million for rehabilitation of the Armory building was approved at the September 4th Town Council public hearing. There was considerable discussion, and the manager did the presentation there, and going forward, it's going to be used for storage until some other use is found. The Town Council public hearing is scheduled for September 18th for the Department of Public Works request for CPA funds for the rehabilitation of the Cotuit Memorial Park. Deb will be covering that for me. I'm going to be unavailable, so she has volunteered to step up and represent the committee.
Thanks, Deb.
Yeah, well, at least I can do. I missed the site visit last week. So anyway.
Let's see. CPR, yes, we'd mentioned she had the site visits. Very great site visits to the two recreation sites. We also did one earlier at the Woodland Bog. And as I mentioned, I went back and actually made sure that that trail that links to the Cape Cod pathways and to the Jenkins property north of there is doable. So it'll be another addition in our trail system. I think it'll be great. Let's see, conservation restrictions for Harju and Prince Avenue are in final review. We hope to get those on the council agenda very soon. The draft conservation restriction for the Mill Pond project is in progress, and it'll be referred to a public hearing once the draft restriction is finalized. There was another version of that was around last week, so that's moving. the closing for the Smiths Creek Conservation Restriction, that's the property that Orenda it would like to acquire, and we approved. They had an issue that had to be resolved in land court, which was has since been resolved, and that's actually very significant. Land court, I don't know if any of you have ever had to deal with that, can take years.
Yeah.
But this matter was resolved quite soon, and that will be coming to the town council when those documents are finalized. The final draft of the conservation restriction for the Cotuit High Ground project is in progress. They're finalizing that. That's a little more complicated than your typical conservation restriction because of the use, but that's moving forward.
Where is the Cotuit High Ground?
Cotuit High Grounds, that's up in off of School Street in Cotuit.
Okay.
Familiar with that? It's a
Yes.
small par 3 golf course.
Yes.
That the land trust will be acquiring, and then they'll be operating. The owner has an option to run the golf course for 5 more years, and then the land trust is going to look at whether they're going to run it as a golf course or turn it into conservation land, or perhaps something different. So that restriction, again, that's a complicated one. We're still anticipating an updated letter of intent for the Oddfellow Lodge on Main Street in Hyannis. The assessment has been completed by our consultant, the building condition assessment, and we're waiting for confirmation of their nonprofit status. And Barbara, you may ask Ellen to get you that assessment on that building. You might be interested in that one.
Okay. Ellen? Thanks.
And we have also the Form E, it's called, from the South Congregational Church. You probably would like to have a look at that one as well.
Yes.
A lot of the shots you saw today were from that. An application for the Centerville Recreation Ball Field and the Osterville Recreation Restroom Facility are anticipated for next month, for the October 20th meeting. That will be interesting with these restrooms. Our CPC annual meeting is scheduled for October 20th. That will be held live and in person in the hearing room. If you've got anything you want to add to our current agenda, it's going to be Mark Milne will give us a financial report. We also have an update coming on the bikeway, phase 4 and phase 3. And I don't believe we had anything else scheduled. We could possibly get the housing trust there if you want to hear from them again, but we just had them in. We didn't come up with any other items to be put on that agenda. We will have election of officers for that meeting as well. So if you're interested in serving in an office, let us know. That was it in the annual meeting. Ellen, did I miss anything on that?
You didn't miss anything, but there will be discussions, it's open for the public to make suggestions on how CPC funds should be spent going into the next year for each category. That's part of, that's the base of the agenda. And then we have these other speakers that we've added.
One item that we could highlight is this whole playground issue. We are completing 2 playgrounds, but there's a need for at least 3 others. We have a looming project coming forward for the Marston's Mills school site. And there's been several public hearings on that, but not any strictly regarding the recreation side of that. Also, there's been proposed a playground for the Hathaway's Pond site, which would replace the full-size playground that was removed at Barnstable, West Barnstable Elementary. If you recall, we made a promise when that project fell through that we would relocate to Hathaway's Pond. And we also need in downtown Hyannis proper, somewhere, a full-size playground there for that side of town. So we have at least 3 more on the horizon, and then Katuitt is losing a playground with the construction of the reconstruction of the Memorial Park. That's the playground that was installed by the church next door. So that will be taken out. So if we wanted to do something with playgrounds, I think sooner we get those underway, the less money it's going to be. It seems like every time we turn around, we need another $400,000 or $500,000 for this equipment and everything else. So we could have a discussion on that. So that was it on the annual meeting that I had. Ellen, go ahead.
Lindsay, did you mention that Mark Milner's coming in?
Yeah.
Yes, he's going to give us an update on current finance as well as talk about bonding.
Yes, for the recreation.
Do these playgrounds. Yeah, do a bonding appropriation, because we could set money aside and have a fund to work from that would be in our budget going forward.
Yeah, that's good.
So we'll talk about that. But if you think of anything else and we can get it fitted in, we will.
Lindsay?
Yes.
What if we were to invite the Recreation Committee to talk about how they're assessing playground needs, or I don't know. I'm assuming that they're sort of driving the bus on some of this with DPW. And I'd love to hear their process, and then how CPC fits into their future requests.
Well, you can bet we fit in significantly, but sure, we can reach out. Generally, they work through Mark Marinaccio, and then it comes forward through the capital improvement program. But we could certainly check over there at Rec and see if there's anyone interested. The other thing that's happening in the works is all of this goes forward is the open space and recreation plan. So that is in the works now. We had a great meeting the other night, and then there's been online discussions with different interest groups. So that I made the point there that we really have enough baseball fields and softball fields. What we don't have is playgrounds and those types of activities. So we could put a request over there to Rec Department and see if they could come forward for the October meeting. If not, we'll get them in at a later meeting. We could set a little time aside and just have them come in and, see what their thoughts are on moving forward. Anything else, Ellen? Yes?
Lindsay, part of what we do leading up to the annual meeting is we do send out the agenda and let committees know, like planning board, recreation committee. We send out to like 10 or 15 different groups, inviting them specifically to attend the annual meeting. So they will know about it.
All right, let's get that agenda finalized, and we'll get it out as soon as possible.
We have a drop dead date of October 1st because we need to put it in the newspaper.
All right, that's the newspaper deadline. Well, we probably should have our outreach to the committees, to the various boards before then. So you and I can talk about that.
Yes.
I saw someone up. Deb, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just, I'm going back to the report from Mark Milne about how evenly are we spending our money, the CPC money. And I always go back to housing, even though I've been watching the housing trust meetings online. It's very long to get anything delivered with housing. And it's really drives me crazy. My blood pressure was probably 20 degrees higher after watching for a while. But I think we need to also pay attention to what he's going to report and what our response is going to be for all the categories, not just recreation and land preservation. Because there are, and historic, we certainly have done our job with historic. It's just housing, as always.
Well, we spent a fortune on housing too, so the results are just limited. That's all. It's very, very expensive.
Yeah,
and that's just the way it is. But we'll have a breakdown of how much we spent in each category, and we'll go from there.
And I'd like that pie chart I've been requesting for a couple of years too. If
we had one last year. There was one in the report last year.
How did I miss that? Yeah, okay.
We've had one every year. And we'll have one again.
Good.
Okay.
Repeat myself.
Any other comments on the annual meeting? If you got any ideas, get them to Ellen and we'll, get them in, because we do need to get this request out to committees and boards and department heads. Okay. Next item, vote to accept the 2026 CPC meeting schedule. That was on the end of the agenda. Have you all had a chance to review that?
Yes.
Yep.
We have 3, I believe, Monday meetings that bump us up a week, move it forward a week. So make sure you make note of those in your calendar. It won't be the 3rd Monday. Those will be the 4th.
Okay.
And I believe Ellen's already secured the rooms.
Yeah. Will they all be virtual?
So far, we usually vote on that every meeting. But next meeting will be live and in person.
Okay.
And then we go and vote at the end of each meeting. Any questions on the schedule? Are we going to approve?
Good. I'll make a motion we approve the schedule going forward of the meeting.
I'll second that. Call the roll, Ellen.
Deb Converse?
Yes.
Terry Duenas?
Yes.
Catherine Garofoli?
Yes.
Farley Lewis?
Yes.
Barbara DiBiase?
Yes.
And Lindsay Council?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. And then the last item on the updates are Ellen has already submitted our Community Preservation -3 report. The Finance Department has already done the CP-1 report, and they are committed to send the CP3 in by the end of this month. Those are the 2 reports that go to the state from the Finance Department. They tell the Finance Department basically how much we've collected, so that then we can get our state match based on our collections.
Okay.
And those are all taken care of. Any other questions from members? Sarah, do we have anyone in the public who wanted to speak?
There's no public this evening.
No public. All right. I'd take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Ellen, will you call the roll?
Deb Converse?
Yep.
Terry Duenas?
Yes.
Catherine Garofoli?
Yes.
Farley Lewis?
Yes.
Barbara DiBiase?
Yes.
Lindsay Council?
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, Barbara.